Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd with Bish's RV here. I've got 10 tips today, 10 little things that might help you get you out of a nasty jam. I'd love to tell you that RVing is a perfect problem-free philosophy, Hakuna Matata, but I once saw it described as fixing things in beautiful places, and there are times where, sadly, I do think that is the case. Sometimes things don't go according to plan. Sometimes things break or wiggle loose or whatever the case may be. So I want to give you a list of things today, some equipment that I recommend you bring with you to maybe help get you out of a major jam and either get you back to camping or back on the road to get there and making those memories. And if you appreciate how we take time out of our day to give you some insights like this, whether you buy from us or not, hit that subscribe button and let's get started. First, get yourself some just basic tools. Like, you don't have to have big professional grade stuff. You'd be shocked with like 40 to 50 bucks of Walmart specials, the kind of quick fixes you can do around your RV, and having just a small little toolbox that you stuff under the dinette in an out of the way space that you don't use every day. Sometimes little things like that can make just such a huge difference in getting you back up. And oh my God, how long have you been standing there? Now, along similar lines, get yourself a variety box of these little blade fuses here, or in the event that like you've got an RV with in command which doesn't use typical blade fuses, get some of those replacement relays. But you find these things used over here in your converter panel, and a lot of times you have a whole stash of these things under the dashboard of your vehicle. And every one of these serves a really important purpose. Sometimes it could be something like a slide out or your leveling jacks. And can you imagine crippling your RV because a fuse popped and not having like a 25-cent blade fuse and losing out on thousands of dollars of planned vacation or potentially an expensive service call? For a simple little blade fuse, it is just absolutely silly not to have a little collection of these both in your RV and frankly in your vehicle most of the time. Now next is something that you see me use all the time in my videos. This is literally a part of my personal daily arsenal making my videos, and that's just a simple 12-volt portable jump pack. Now they come in a lot of different shapes and varieties. I like one that's a step above this that actually has an on-off switch so that I can make sure I'm only sending juice to the RV when I'm ready. But you can use these to jump start a dead vehicle. You can use these to emergency power any 12-volt system in your RV. Like, let's say you're boondock dry camping, something happens, and you just need juice to close the slide or run the leveling gear or something like that. These can do all of that, and usually doing all my videos, all the time it takes me running all the slides and everything, I can get through 2 full RVs off of one of these, so for a quick little emergency, it can work. Also, a lot of them have a little 12-volt DC plug on them, and some have USB plugs, so if you're in the middle of nowhere and you're needing roadside service or emergency service and you need phone power, like your battery on your phone's dying, these can make a really long-lived emergency phone charge station for you. And if you really want to keep it 100, find a version of these that also has a built-in air compressor, because now that is something where even if it can't fully put enough air pressure in your tires, because a lot of times they're very light duty, it might at least allow you to get enough air in a tire, even if it has a slow bleed flat, to limp your way to like a tire service center or something like that. Also, I don't know if you've ever sat there by the pool trying to blow up the kids' inflatable floaty toys, going and then you get like a head rush and you about fall down and crack your head on the concrete. Well, having a little air compressor built right into one of those, that can be a real handy feature just for daily fun stuff. Now, very similarly, even though I mentioned a portable like jump pack kind of thing, even a simple set of jumper cables can actually still be a very useful thing, especially if you have a bigger truck. Now, let's say the trailer battery died in a pinch real quick. If you hook the jumper cables up to your battery, to the RV's battery terminals, you can, again, run slides, run the leveling jack, stuff like that, temporarily if you had to. Now, the reason I still recommend getting a pair of big jumper cables is, especially if you have a bigger truck, a portable jump pack, especially on a diesel, is usually, it doesn't have enough kick to get the engine turned over, whereas if somebody else shows up with a big truck and you hook up a big truck to a big truck, it's gonna go. The other thing, I mentioned in a pinch, if you had to, you could hook these up from your vehicle's battery to the RV to run the stuff. You can, But you got to be careful with that. You got to make sure that your vehicle puts out enough power, that's a whole different conversation. I'm not going to break that all down right here, but usually it's not an issue like if you have a half-ton pickup or bigger. If you've got like a small to mid-size SUV or something, and you're towing a small camper, you don't always put out enough power to do everything. Or sometimes if you got a really big RV who has a vehicle that has a really big powerful alternator, you may actually send too much power to the RV and you may do a little bit of damage. So again, as just an emergency, I gotta get moving right now kind of thing, they can be useful in a pinch. But not everything you encounter is necessarily going to be an RV-related emergency, and that's why one of the things I recommend, whether you just buy a basic one or build your own, have some kind of first aid kit handy for your family or yourself in this thing. Whether it's just, you nick your finger or something like that and you don't want to... You ever notice how anytime you ever cut your finger, it's always exactly where your fingertips go when you're putting on a pair of pants? I don't understand how that even is scientifically possible, but it certainly is. But this is another one of those things where being, prepared being proactive is definitely going to be better than reactive. And it is incredible sometimes the difference. Some basic things, some basic painkillers, Band-Aids, things like that can make it an emergency scenario. Now, another thing I hope you never need. All of this is stuff I hope you never need, but it's like a spare tire or health insurance or cough medicine. It's no good to you. Until it becomes really important and relevant. And something I recommend, get a roadside reflector kit. I don't know if you've ever had the extreme displeasure of changing a flat tire alongside a busy highway. I personally have. And that's what made me appreciate those kind of reflector kits. And because you're sitting there and cars are whipping past you and your family so fast that you can feel the wind push rocking your car as they go past you. And you realize very quickly how fragile life is, because if one person starts rubbernecking and they start drifting, over toward you a little bit, which we're curious individuals, we tend to do things like that. You realize how quickly you could just be taken out like that. Well, those reflector kits to get people acknowledging what you are so they're not thinking about it, so they're not focusing on it, so they're not veering toward it, so that they instantly recognize. People see reflector kit, they know it's some kind of roadside emergency, they naturally avoid that. It is an amazing safety device for you and the other motorists on the road, frankly. But on the topic of being alongside the edge of the road, I think the very first thing that came to my mind, and I bet the first thing that came to your mind, is flat tire. I think I even mentioned it in that last little segment right there. And you're going to need to change your flat tire. And RV auto leveling systems theoretically can lift one side of an RV enough to be able to change a tire, but it's never a bad idea to have like a trailer jack on you, so that if you do absolutely need to, you can lift the sucker up and you can get that tire. But I found through like Facebook groups, a lot of people don't know where on the RV to put those when it comes time to make a change. Now, in today's day and age, you've got some RVs that have full-on auto leveling systems, like that just smexy looking Montana that we have right here. One of the differences between automatic leveling and RVs with stabilizer jacks is that auto leveling is strong enough and the frame is reinforced in the proper places to be able to actually lift tires off the ground. RVs with just stabilizer jacks, they are not designed to do that. Now, let's say you're looking at an RV that isn't like this, that doesn't have automatic leveling, and you've got to put like a bottle jack or something on this thing. Where should you be doing that? Best recommendation I've heard from a lot of factory engineers, where you're putting the least stress on the frame and the least likely to have issues, is just behind the rear tire and actually on the frame rail, basically as much as you possibly can be. If you put it to the front of the tires on the frame rail, it's a higher stress flex point, and you're more likely to potentially tweak your frame. Whereas back here behind the axle, it doesn't stress things nearly the same. I do also really recommend staying hooked up to your tow vehicle. One of our service techs actually had a situation where he was changing an axle out on an RV, and the trailer slipped off the jack, and if it hadn't been hooked up on the vehicle, he would have got crushed. Now, single axle RVs, you still probably want to put it behind the tire. It matters a lot less on those, though, because there's a lot less weight going around. But there are other alternatives to things like, you know, a common bottle jack and whatnot. Like there's these big like ramp up wedges that are designed, some for like leveling a trailer and some are literally designed to be able to like, you know, change a flat tire. What do I think about those? I've got mixed emotions. They're simple, they're effective, they're easy. I've always worried though about the stress that they might put on the axles, because you're basically now fully loading the entire RV mostly on one axle when you use one of those. And in the case of a tandem axle RV, the reason the RV has two axles is because one axle is not sufficient to hold the entire weight of the entire thing. And as long as you're real ginger and careful, which if you're getting under this thing and you're changing a tire, I would think you're being ginger and careful about it. But if you go jostling the thing around too hard or it shifts, it feels much more likely that you may overload an axle. You may cause your wheel to like cant in or tip in a little bit on the other side. You might screw some stuff up. I don't have a lot of personal experience with those though. What I've shared with you is mostly the theoretical information that's gone through my mind. If there are actual people out there who have used those things, could you please leave some comments and basically share your thoughts with the rest of the class, because I will always place real world experience above my theoretical estimations every single day of the week, every time. And again, trouble can rear its head in a number of different ways. Sometimes, again, with a simple blade fuse, you can get yourself back up and running. But what if you experience something major and catastrophic, like your slide out clutch fails, meaning if you're going down the road, your slide out could bounce and wiggle its way out. Like, that's a major deal that may prevent you from limping into a service center. Something I do recommend is get a big, heavy duty ratchet strap where, God forbid you ever had to, you could throw that sucker over the RV, wrap it under the belly, and cinch that thing down if you absolutely positively had to get that thing moved. Now keep in mind, depending on, you can damage your RV cinching that thing down too much. You got to be careful. You got to use your head as much as possible. And if you're to that point, you are already in a situation where things are not going well. And at this point, we're doing triage. We're just trying to make it as least bad as it can possibly be. But rather than being totally stranded somewhere, if you're in the middle of nowhere and you got to get moving, sometimes big old heavy duty ratchet strap might be just what the doctor ordered. And my last point here, number 10, is a bit of a 2-for-1, which whenever I try to make like a list with X number, I always end up with like X plus 2, but never mind. Turns into an algebra equation. If we're not finding the hypotenuse of a problem, a lot of people might ask the question, why do I need to worry about all this stuff when I got a phone and I can call people to fix that? And maybe I paid for some kind of roadside system and I paid somebody to make this their problem. That's a reasonable, thing for some people. I get that. And that's fine until your phone isn't working for one reason or another. So my two-part recommendation here is, first of all, remember your phone does have a finite charge. Now, between like the RV's batteries and the plugs in the RV, the vehicle's battery plugs in the vehicle, being able to run the engine, charge stuff up, it is really hard when you're on the road to completely drain your battery. But I really do recommend traveling with some kind of like extra charge source for your battery if you're really stuck in no man's land for a long time, and maybe you're trying to use your phone to contact emergency services. And whether you're using that portable jump pack I mentioned earlier, whether you got one of those extra power banks that you bring with you plug into your phone for USB plug, whatever the case might be, have another way to keep that thing juiced up. Also, I really recommend, if you're going a long ways away from home, and especially if you're going into where there's not a lot of people, into a more sparsely populated area, long stretches of empty road, have a secondary way to connect with civilization. If you're in a place where your specific cell phone plan doesn't connect with anything, consider bringing with you like a wireless hotspot for a different carrier, looking into Starlink, something like that. Have a secondary way to be able to connect with civilization and literally ET phone home for help in an emergency situation. And I just had a thought. Even though a lot of these things I'm talking about today are things that we would have on the shelf in our own parts and service centers,
as just purely a courtesy to you and as a show of appreciation to our audience for watching today. What I'm going to do is in the video description, I'm going to break down chapter marks in case you ever want to jump back and check anything else back out. But I will also see what I can do about looking up like links online for you to be able to go right online and shop for any and every one of these things that I can possibly locate a link for today. So it's all just there, all simple and easy for you. And I hope you appreciate that we're going out of our way to help you here, even if it means maybe we make a couple bucks less. We hope to make happier campers out there in the long run.
And I hope you found this, a little bit helpful today, a little bit insightful, because whether you have an RV or are still shopping, or whether you're buying from Bish's RV or not, I think this is the kind of stuff that can really help some people. And, if you are considering buying an RV, you may want to factor some of this stuff into your total cost of ownership, into your total budget, so that you're not kind of taken a little bit by surprise after the fact. Or let's just say, God forbid, something happens, you don't have to miss out in an entire family vacation. And maybe there's some simple things, again, like those blade fuses. It baffles me how simple, easy, and inexpensive those things are, and how majorly that could impact your weekend or your trip or your day or whatever the case may be. So if you found benefit in this, I would really ask you to hit that subscribe button or like our video. Share this in like your favorite social media group. Maybe it'll help somebody else out there. The other thing I would ask is the experienced people out there. Is there something I've missed or overlooked, or something you're like, I would never leave home without being prepared for this thing right here? Leave us some comments and share that. And again, let's all just be good members of our community and help one another. So until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and best wishes from Bish's, everyone.